All right, gentlemen, welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to United and Everything Football. This has been your one-stop shop for everything Man United and everything football. It's always a pleasure to come your way. Today we have a special guest who, after taking money and moving from a different radio station, he decided to abandon us. But today we fished him out. We brought him back on the podcast. His name is Akumia the Messiah. He's joining us for a very, very, very long time. It's been a while since we've had him here on the podcast. I'm also here with Fabio Jubuesiak. We are here to talk everything Man United. We went for an international break, and to the glory of God, no player came out injured. And we have players returning. So we are here to talk about what is going to happen for the rest of the season. I don't know which book Kwame has picked and is opening and to read or to, I don't know.
Hey, Doc.
I have too much to read these days that every minute counts, even when I'm recording a pod.
Michael Akovia, tell us where the money is. Or should we put your accounts on the platform so that you can send us something?
Rafa. The double Kwames. The doc and the HR. My senior man. The money or the royalty is going to come. Don't worry.
You are all our witnesses. You are all our viewers, our witnesses. Charlie, great to have you, Akomia. Great to have you back on the podcast.
It's great to be back here too. It's been a long time. I miss you guys.
Today, I thought of bringing yourself and Cicho, but unfortunately, Cicho is down with flu, so he can't join us today.
My man.
Charlie, do you have time today? Say the time I get plenty, but I'm down with the flu. So wish him good recovery.
Yes.
So next week, possibly, we'll be bringing Cicho back on the podcast. So you know what to do. Remember to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification, but pause the video right now. We have a lot to talk about. So pause, like the videos, and also share with your friends. Leave your comment with us. When we come back, I'll read a question to you, and then you leave the answers in the comment section for us, and we'll continue here on United and Everything Football. All right, thank you very much. Welcome back to United and Everything Football Podcast. So I have a question with me here. My quiz master has prepared another question for me to share with you. So if you don't know the quiz master, he's the man in the 1999 white shirt. Hey, today we've gone into the 90s, so I'm wearing the 1996 shirt.
Throwbacks.
Because you are going to get a video on a Thursday, so throwback Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Let me read the question for you. It said that United's biggest win in the Premier League is by 9-0. It happened twice, against Southampton in 2021 and also Ipswich in 1995. What is United's second biggest victory in the Premier League history? Against which team and in which year? Let me read it again. Our biggest win in the Premier League is by 9-0. It happened twice. Southampton in 2021, Ipswich in 1995. We have a second biggest win, and it happened somewhere that I want you to give me the answer. So tell me which year and against which team. It's very important. So let us know. And if you have the score line too, you can drop it in there. Don't go and use AI. If you use AI, we'll catch you.
Or Google.
Guys, it's great to have you once again. Kwame. No, let me start with Akomia since he's there.
Of course. Yeah.
We've heard so much of Kwame.
My push rashford. No.
He's a happy man now. Lately, Kwame is a happy man because Rashford is playing in Aston Villa. He's back in the England national team or the English national team. So Kwame,
I love you, Thomas Tuchel. I love you. I love you so much. You saved our lives.
Akobia, the season is we are getting into the final stretch. So we enter into April and then in May. So we have 2 more months to go. We have, as for the Premier League, we know it's done. There is nothing we are doing in that league. All we need to do is to place ourselves a bit higher and then see what comes out of it. But we have a competition that is likely to change a whole lot of things for the club. in the Europa League. In this final stretch, I don't know, what have you made of everything that has happened? Because we've not heard from you in quite some time, for quite some time. What did you make of what has happened all over? And then what to expect for the rest of the season?
A very good evening to you once again. And I think it has been a bittersweet season where personally I felt there were moments within the season where we enjoyed some good victories. And there were some other times where you felt the team is actually going nowhere. The vision was not clear. The results was not coming. Everything actually looked blurred. And we didn't even know what we were supposed to do, even on the field of play, with the players not putting up their best, not getting inconsistent results, not delivering according to the system or tactics we are using under Ruben Amorim. There were a lot of things that really went on. That is why I describe it as a bittersweet season. The bitter part is we are almost like 13th or 12th on the league log. The sweet part is we are still in the Europa League, where we have a quarterfinal game against
unbeaten.
Yes, we are unbeaten.
Irony of the season.
We are unbeaten in Europe. We are not unbeaten in Europa League. We are unbeaten in Europe. And you feel like that is the sweet part. So you look at it and you see that is the sweet part of the season that we're actually talking about. So that is how it is.
Well, that is how it is. But I'll stay with you for some time. What do you make of Ruben Amorim so far? There's been a lot of debates about
this part I want to hear.
What do you make? Go into Ruben Amorim for us. Go into him.
Yes. Kwame and Doc, it's quite frustrating to see a young coach suffer like this at Manchester United. Initially, if you read some of my tweets, I even said that the club is actually becoming a graveyard for most players and coaches who come to the club.
It is a graveyard, not becoming.
It is a graveyard. It is. That is the right word. Thank you. It is a graveyard where we've seen top coaches come to the club, and at the end of the day, they fail to deliver. Players come to the club, and at the end of the day, they fail to deliver. But looking at Ruben Amorim's situation and how he came to the club, I don't blame him so much in a lot of things, especially when he has not had a pre-season with this club. He's now knowing his players, a new system in a new league, which is much more intense than even the Portuguese league. A league where you can't repeat the same mistakes in 2 consecutive weeks, where you are going to be punished by the likes of Southampton, and Leeds United and Ipswich. These teams, they don't leave loopholes for you. They are going to actually destroy you when you make the slightest mistake, because they've already meant to deliver something against Manchester United anytime they play against them. Whenever Manchester United is playing against anybody, it's Man United against the world. Every single club that Manchester United treated badly in terms of on-the-pitch results, they want to retaliate anyway, anyhow.
They want to have their pound of flesh.
That is it. If you spoiled their childhood, they are ready to come back at you anyway, anyhow. So I feel for him the kind of pressure that is in the club. I feel for him in terms of his system coming into the club, trying to do something new, far away from what we have seen at Manchester United in recent times under different coaches. He's now getting to know his players, and he's quite unfortunate with the injury situation he's actually facing now at the club. It's quite confusing. And he's also playing or being in a certain team where the culture is that bad. Winning mentality we just lack winning mentality. We lack commitment at times. These players decide when to play and when not to play. In this instance, when we play against big clubs like Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal, you even look at the Europa League games, where some of us, we feel like these are games we are supposed to be trashed. This is where these guys turn up. Then the following week, we play against teams like Crystal Palace, Southampton, and it's like it was not us who played against Arsenal this way or even Manchester City that way. And it's quite frustrating that as a coach, you'll be on the bench, see one team deliver 1 week, the next week, they go down. But I also have my problem with him. The problem that I have with him has to do with the system and how he wants the system to work. And also adapting to the kind of quality we have. First of all, I strongly believe that you can still stick to your formation. Formation is different from system, and system goes hand in hand with tactics. You can have a 3-4-2-1 formation but the system is different and the tactics is different. In this role, you can have double number 10s, but these double number 10s are not going to be inside forwards, but they are going to be wide forwards, complementing your wing backs. In some games, you can have double number 10 who are going to be inside forwards, much more concentrated on creativity, not goal scoring, and supplying the attacker with a lot of chances to get the goals into the net. You look at sometimes this team will sit deep, try and go long, use the wing backs. Opponents try and find out the solution to the system we are playing. So they try and go one-on-one with our players, wing back on wing back, center back on center forward. They block every single loophole. In this instance of the 3-back system, you expect that if you are going with inside forwards, you need to change it as soon as possible and go with the wide forwards to stretch the pitch. Or more or less, make the pitch a little bit smaller. Hold on to the ball for a long period of time or try and dominate possession, which, as to that part, is 50-50, let me say 50-50 share of problem. Because I don't think we have the quality of players to maintain possession or keep the ball for longer periods. Number 2, I think there are also combinations within our teams which, when we put them in the middle of the pack, they could also help us control possession for some time. It is not actually going to be long handling of the ball, but I think for a short period of time where we can bail ourselves out in that particular small kind of position or small kind of area, we can dominate. Then we stretch the field to our wing backs or we stretch the balls to our wing backs. Then we begin to create a lot of chances. He has his problems, but this is the time he's going to make the mistakes. This is the time he's going to understand the kind of players he's going to work with. He's doing a preseason within a season. And the league is more or less like the preseason. For the Europa League, if you've actually watched him and how he sets up his team, you could see that it's much more competitive than even the Premier League. And within those particular games, we are more concerned about being efficient in front of goal. Not necessarily about controlling the game or controlling the tempo, sticking to the principles alone. But we play to win. In the Premier League, it's more about understanding what he wants to do, understanding his philosophy, aligning ourselves to his philosophy, and moving along with it. But in the Europa League, it has to do with results. So you look at how the team is set up in the Europa League and look at how the team is also set up in the league. The league, whenever we lose, you don't see any kind of pressure on him. But look at him on the touchline on Thursday against Sociedad. So much pressure. There was a lot of things on his head to deliver at the end of the day. So it's results-oriented in the Europa League. It's about philosophy, understanding the system. So it's more or less like we use the league to prepare for the Europa League games. Like training games in the league. Then we bring it to the Europa League where we try and execute a lot of things, which I believe that he's going to learn a lot. He will make mistakes in terms of lineup, in terms of using a lot of players, especially looking at Diogo Dalot. Sometimes I question myself that if you have Dogu, you have Mazraoui, you still want to use Diogo Dalot as the right wing back. And I have a lot of questions to ask him when I meet him one-on-one like this. Maybe you should actually come to Manchester very soon. Because sometimes I don't get it. Then you look at our starting 11. Then you look at the double number 10, Bruno and Zexi. I don't think those two, it actually works as to how we want it.
Bruno is
you might have gotten results. You might have gotten results by playing two of them
now.
Yes. So Bruno
it's Garnacho and Zexi most of the time, isn't it?
Yeah, Bruno would need to drop a lot to help with build-up. Then Zexi is left alone. But when you look at Zexi's style of play, he loves to combine with the attacker. Or he loves to combine with someone who is closer to like 1-2. Then he moves. He loves to do layoffs because that kind of style is how he played at Bologna. If you watch Bologna's games, you look at it and you see that is how he plays. He just links up 1-2, then he moves into space. 1-2, he dribbles, 1-2, he moves in. By the time he gets the ball, Rasmus Højlund cannot hold that play. Number 2, when you are playing 1-2 with Rasmus Højlund, forget about the pass because it's going to go like 5 yards ahead of you. You're not going to get it as you want it. So this is where Garnacho always comes in. Because Garnacho is going to do the carry for you. It's very important that in this setup, where we have a striker who cannot hold onto balls, who cannot link up so well, these two things, you need to rely on a certain winger that is actually going to be your wide man and also be your progressive carrier. That is why he always starts Garnacho, because Garnacho can carry for us maybe 10 years, 20 years, move the ball closer to the penalty box. If not, and you play Zexi is not a ball carrier. And Rasmus Højlund is not going to give you the quality that you want. And this is where the problem comes in.
Okay.
But I think more players are supposed to be given the opportunity. If some of these guys are not fighting well, put them aside, bring in these young guys. Specifically our last game against Leicester City, I was really angry. The first change he did, I knew he realized his mistake quickly and he had to change it. Why do you have Harry Amas on the bench? Then you bring in Toby Koila to come and play as the left wing back.
Ten Hag settings.
So imagine within that last 10 minutes period that Koila was playing as a wing back and we concede. You come back.
Interesting.
I will forgive him for this season that he's actually using the Premier League to do a lot of tests. He's doing a pre-season within a season. But for the Europa League, we mean business.
We mean business.
And we can't joke. No, I'm being serious. We mean business and we can't joke over there.
Yeah.
You can't tell me Fenerbahce is out.
Yeah.
Let's be honest with ourselves. Kwame and Doc, none of the teams there is supposed to win the trophy ahead of us.
100% agree.
Factus.
None of the teams over there. When it comes to individual quality, as a team, collectively, we are bad. But from what I've watched during the Europa League games, I don't think a lot of them is going to pose a threat to us. Who? Bilbao. If you take away Nico Williams and Inaki Williams, you are done. Olympique Lyonnais, Ryan Cherki. Just give Manuel Ugarte to Ryan Cherki and leave the rest alone. Bodo Glimt. Lazio. Come on. This is Manchester United. This is not Bofakwa United, sorry to say. No, I'm being honest. The Europa League, you look at these teams, even in our West State, we should be beating these teams to this trophy.
You are right. Yeah.
Because how can you play so well against Liverpool? None of the teams over there are at the level of Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City. None of them. Absolutely none of the teams left in the Europa League. Absolutely none of them. But look at how we played against Arsenal. Look at how we played against Liverpool. Look at how we played against Manchester City. Then look at how we played against Real Sociedad. That was a statement win in the Europa League to announce ourselves. So I've heard people pick Lyonnais here and there. My guy, experience should work this time around. We are winners and we have been finalists. Check the last 5 years when it comes to the Europa League. After being winners in 2016, 2017, we were finalists.
Twice. Or once.
Right?
Twice. Sorry, once.
Against Villarreal.
Yeah.
David De Gea's time.
Yeah.
We've been to the semi-finals
a couple of times.
And we've been to the semi-final a couple of times. So this is actually a tournament. Even if Ruben Amorim will need to be pragmatic, we need to close a lot of things. We need to adapt for us to win. We have to do it and get into the Champions League next season.
Well, Akomia puts the thing in two folds. So there is one that he lays to the club and there is one that he lays to the manager. I'm sure it's consistent with a lot of the analysis other people have also made. Kwame, the rest of the season, where do we take it?
As far as we've come here, we've sat here, we've spoken a lot.
In fact, so it was very. As Akomia is saying, we've said it a lot more times here.
Yeah. It's just that I have a couple of disagreements with his very in-depth analysis.
Yeah.
The difference between the Premier League and the league, it's clear. We don't have good enough players for the Premier League. It's not a matter of tactics and it's a matter of we are using it for training.
Quality.
We simply don't match up to the Premier League. The physicality, we don't match up. We play down to the competition in the Europa League. Then Europa League, the coach said it. That's the part I respect about Amorim. The fact that he's honest with the fact that he tells you, I've made a mistake. I've learned this. And I see it. One thing I tell people is this is not some elite manager. He's an up and coming manager. We are going, just as we want to buy up and coming players, we've gone for an up and coming manager. What that means is he's going to make mistakes.
Yep.
So when we come and sit here and we criticize him that he's done this and he's made, like Akomian rightly said, some of the decisions that he makes are funny. Why do you play Collier at left back for 10 minutes when you have Hamas there? When we come and sit here and we say it, people will go like, you are hitting on the manager. Isn't it clear to you the manager is making an error? This is not the best manager in the world. He aspires to be the best manager in the world. And in doing so, there are going to be errors. But the squad itself lacks quality. When it comes to the Premier League, this is not the Europa League. It's not an elite competition. It is the second-tier European competition with second-tier European teams. Most of these teams don't even play Champions League ever, or they don't play it consistently. The level, the speed, the intensity, everything drops. He said it himself, not we are insinuating. He said it. The physicality in the Europa League is different from the physicality in the Premier League, and that is the problem. So,
our bare minimum in the Europa League sort of trumps a lot of the physicality that we see.
Exactly. That is the whole point. So that is how come they also say, or we've heard, and then a lot has been insinuated that one of the qualities we are looking for in the market next summer, when it comes to the signing of any player, number one is physicality.
Yeah.
Before you even consider technical ability and quality, that player, whoever it is, be a £60 million signing, a £10 million signing, a £15 million signing, should be physical enough to be able to play in the Premier League, or should have had experience in the Premier League. That's the only thing I'll add to that. But with respect to what we are supposed to expect this season, it's all about putting us in a good position in the summer to be able to get the best chance of making the best signings. And in doing so, it comes back to winning the Europa League. It really does come back to winning the Europa League. We have to put all our baskets in the Europa League. So it's not, I don't agree that it's Amorim fine-tuning his tactics differently in the Europa League compared to the Premier League. He is desperate to win the Europa League, so he does anything possible to win the Europa League. In the league now, what he has chosen to do is to be pragmatic so that we get results. Because what you have to do in the league is get enough confidence leading up to the Europa League games. When your confidence is shot by a series of bad losses in the league, it may affect Europa League results. So all he's doing is, now I have ditched my plan of going full throttle against every other team, trying to push my style of play on this team. This team can't play it. He knows. He has accepted it. They can't play it. So now let's just be pragmatic. The players came to say it. One of them, I've forgotten the last player who came, actually, was it Dalot at the interview after our Leicester game? They asked him about what has changed. And he said, we have decided to be pragmatic. Like, yeah, the coach has finally accepted.
Stay in the formation, but be pragmatic.
Just stay compact. Because this team originally was built to play in transition. You are not going to ask players to all of a sudden tell them to ball carriers by force and creative number 10. Garnacho can't all of a sudden turn you into a creative number 10. Zexi doesn't actually create as a number 10. He holds onto the ball as a number 10. That's a creative force.
Sulia expert.
He just not makes that's it. So basically, you don't have the players to ideally play the way that you want. It's taking him about 2 or 3 months to finally accept that. You know what? Like Akome is saying, the system may be there, but the approach is what he has changed. The approach is, we are at Old Trafford. Fine. I know we are playing against Southampton. Fine. If we take this game to Southampton and push all our players into the half, hoping that we'll be able to sustain possession there, they're only going to cut us through. They're only going to destroy us because it won't happen. And it's because you simply don't have the players to do it. But he has been insisting for 3 months on trying to do that. And finally, when it's crunch time, he's raised his hand and said, all right, I get it. It's not working. Let's just be tight. Let's just be compact. When teams lose the ball, then there we go. That's just it. Hopefully, we continue on this trajectory till the end of the season. The most important thing for me now is players are coming back. It's not just players returning from the international break healthy. There are players even who have been on the injury list at Manchester United who are returning at an absolute key time.
Yeah, Mount is
right.
Mainu is back. Maguire is back.
Lenny Euro even is back.
Heaven is likely to
back. Even they are saying Ahmad is just about 4 weeks away from actually playing football games for us. So you can only look up and say, you know what, these guys are returning back for a very strong end to the season. What I want to see, what I really want to see, it's not just give up league games. What I want to see is, you remember Arsenal the season just before the challenge for the title, where they had a very, very bad start to the season. But then getting to the end, they almost got top 4. Like they raced almost to top 4. I'm not saying Manchester United will get top 4. But every league position that we go up by, there's that extra incentive of extra money. Try and get into the top half of the table. 9th, 10th, 8th, I don't care. Just get into the top half of the table and win the Europa League. If you're able to do that, I wouldn't say it's a successful season, but it salvages what has been an absolutely shit season. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah. Very interesting analysis there from Kwame. So thank you very much, Kwame and Akumia, on your analysis on that. We have about just 8 minutes to go. Today, I was just scanning through, this is just random, and I saw this Raphael Varane interview with Aurelien Tchouameni. It was a very interesting one, and he spoke about his time at Madrid, and I think Tchouameni asked him about why he decided to move. He had to explain. He had won 4 Champions League. He was more than satisfied. He came to United. He says he didn't go as he wanted, but it is the club that he has felt a lot of passion because he felt this connection with the club. He had these quotes and he talked about he celebrating some things even more than the Champions League. He said that during the first season, I sustained a few injuries, but overall I played and I loved playing in the Premier League, the stadiums. When you are passionate about football, it's made me feel alive. I celebrated the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup more than the Champions League. It was wild. I got there, I gave it my all. I had a real connection with the fans. It was an incredible experience. I was the big brother. I went in there to share my experience, to pass on everything I'd learned. I had a great time. I loved it. So this is Raphael Varane. If you remember how he was introduced to the crowd, even the way he was introduced to Old Trafford, that was a masterstroke. It's not something you generally see. And it became a sort of thing for United. I mean, from Raphael Varane to Rasmus Højlund to Casemiro to Ugarte, where we had to present the players at Old Trafford even after everything had been done. But Akumia, this is Raphael Varane, Champions League Varane, had won everything. And what is it at United that makes some of these things so special? And he's not the only player who speaks like this in respect of the English game and Man United. And
Schweinsteiger acts more like a Man United legend than even Bayern.
Yeah.
Man United fans are very loyal.
Yeah,
that is why we have so many player FCs within the club. Let me be very honest. Most of our fans are easily attached to managers. Most of our fans are easily attached to players. This is not by any magic or anything. That is just how the club is. We adore, we love, we give it all. We don't give up. In our history and our culture, we've never felt that we should be distant from our players, even in difficult circumstances. We've seen the West. We've known the West. We've played in the worst kind of situation. We've always survived. This is United. There's nothing more to explain with tactics. There's nothing to explain with science about this. There's nothing to explain with magic about this. This is natural. This is who we are. We don't change. We don't change. Hated, adored, and never ignored. That is us.
I'll just quickly add to that. See, there is something called the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The pyramid. At the very top of the pyramid is what is called self-actualization. Self-actualization means that you've basically achieved everything and there's nothing more to achieve. In sports, you can reach a point of self-actualization where you feel like there's nothing more for you to do. But at that point, some people just ask themselves, they just want a renewed sense of energy, something different. Because someone will ask, why would you leave Madrid? You can just even sit on a bench and win 3 more Champions Leagues. You don't necessarily even have to be a starter.
Like Madrid is doing.
Exactly. But then there are some people who just say to themselves, yeah, you can chill. I even think Casemiro is chilling. Casemiro is actually chilling. He's not perturbed by being sat on the bench he's self-actualized. He's at a point where he doesn't feel he has anything else to prove to anybody. You get what I'm trying to say? But then there are some people who go they can't sleep at night when they reach that point. Why do you think somebody would want to go to Mars? There's no need for him to go to Mars after he's gone to the moon. But after the moon is oh, what else in life? So I feel Rafa Varane got to that point where he says, you know what? Manchester United is a club I could have even played for. I could have played in the Premier League. Why don't I live this moment before I call it a day? Because even you called it that you don't feel like Varane even has a long career left ahead of him from his pronouncements, from a lot of things that he had been saying after he had won the World Cup. You could tell he had just sat down and said to myself, I have just one dream. See that Premier League games where the stadiums are always rocking and when you make a tackle and fans are always shouting and jumping. Why don't I feast there? Like just have a feel of it. And then he plays for basically the most historic club in the Premier League era, Manchester United. But what you should know is we hadn't won a trophy in 6 years.
Yes.
That's how come he references that Carabao Cup as one he celebrated even more than the Champions League. Remember the Champions League, they started winning the 3 in a row.
Yes.
It doesn't always feel the same anymore when you keep on winning the same trophy.
Exactly.
But when you go to a club that has been starved and is hungry and is desperate and has been horrible and hasn't won for a long time, and you win that trophy for them, it feels more like how Newcastle won a first trophy in 70 years. That was our kind of situation because we're not used to going on trophy droughts.
Yeah.
And he ended that. And his second season, when he was injury ravaged, there was issues with the manager, there was issues with the team. He came in and he reminded the world what Rafa Varane is in that FA Cup final.
Yeah.
Right. So his United story is just as beautiful. It's not long.
Yeah.
It's not protracted, but it's just as beautiful as he feels his Real Madrid story is. His career in entirety is beautiful. And that is what I loved about the interview in the sense that he's telling it to a young Real Madrid player. That yes, Real Madrid is the pinnacle of football. Yeah. But there are also other very, very beautiful stories out there. If your Madrid story ends now, there is something else you can actually do.
That's true.
Aside just playing for Real Madrid. That's playing for Manchester United. I love David Beckham. Yeah. You know, I love David Beckham more than anybody else. And I love the way he speaks passionately when it comes to Manchester United. When he's talking about Manchester United, he enters into a different realm of emotion. Yeah. It's almost like he's with you, but he's not with you because he's reminiscent. There's a combination of a lot of emotions going on in what he's trying to say.
It's like that perfect love story.
Exactly. That is how I felt when I was watching that Rafa Varane interview. I actually went on the internet to watch the rest of the interview because usually you get clipped and then you're like, is this really what you're saying? But there was more. Like he kept talking about Manchester United as if, you know what, Manchester United is supposed to be Real Madrid's level. But for one or two shit things that happened at the club, and we shouldn't be in this situation. Like we shouldn't actually be in this situation. Yeah. So he didn't go to like some ragged club. He went to a club that's supposed to be a Real Madrid's level, but for one or two things. I just wish we could end with Jadon Sancho because I'm sure we are running out of time. It's like we've not had any questions.
It's time.
Me out of Jadon Sancho before we end.
Yeah,
freedom fighter.
Say it quickly.
Freedom fighter. Freedom fighter. Yeah. He should get his freedom and leave my club. I'm just glad that Chelsea fans have also realized that it's not about coaches and not about the clubs. Sometimes the players themselves have problems, of which they have fortunately realized. We have taken our stone. They should just give us our money and then deal with whatever they want to do with. That's all else.
Guys, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Akumia, it was great having you. Your analysis was very good. Sure. Enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being a friend and a partner to this podcast. We really appreciate your time every single time that we call on you. So everybody come into the comment section and say thank you to Akumia for being a part of the podcast. We'll see you on the next one. Remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and also leave a comment. Answer the quiz question. We'll see you after the game against Nottingham Forest. Have a great time. Bye.